Welcome.
Thank you, Dan.
The second podcast for the Don and Dan Show.
It's a pleasure to be here, especially after your huge primary win on primary night back there in June. And now people will be taking their summer vacations, including you and Stacy. But come after Labor Day, we're going to get focused on the issues in this town. The people have had enough.
It was, first of all, I didn't expect it to go this way. I didn't know what we were looking at. A lot of hard work done. You know, so many people were involved. I have to say thank you. I have to say thank you to everybody that helped me. My family, my campaign manager, all of the Republican committee. Everybody was just wonderful. And you don't know what to expect.
Well, we had to get your name out in the community. And everyone that rallied behind you knew we had the right candidate and a great future for the town of Amherst. And we're looking forward. And like you told me and Stuart said to you, you're not a man looking for a job. You're a very successful businessman, but you're a man on a mission. And we appreciate that.
And I have to tell you, now as it's over, the amount of support has been wonderful. People, the headwind is with us. I think people want change. I think what's going to happen here too is that you're going to see more people giving their opinions, telling us more. I'm looking forward to getting back out there, speaking to people, talking to them like I did in the first part of this. Because, you know, if you want the job, you have to talk to people. And I had an opportunity yesterday to speak to some business owners, and it was just wonderful. They were talking about things that were happening to them. So much of what I'm doing now is more informational.
Were they having problems doing business with the town?
I think what happens is that it's difficult to get things done. So what happens for these business people is that their needs, they just want to be able to make a living. So they require the town to help them do that, whether it be for public safety or essential services. They just need it. They need to be those, they just need those things to happen to them. And they're having issues. And it may not seem like a lot, but it is to them because it's hard to do business in New York.
Well, I think you'll make Town Hall user-friendly.
Well, I think what we have to do, we've talked about this at length, we've got to change things. So we've got to change how people get information. It's not done well right now. They go to a town board meeting, they get 3 minutes to talk. I told you this before, I want them to have news all the time. I want them to understand it. I want you to be able to give that to them. I want people to know that this is what's happening on this issue.
Well, thanks to you, I found out the town is $200 million in debt. I don't think most people know that.
Well, and again, you're right. And they've done this over the last 8 years. The Lab and Culpa group has done this. We're at $200 million in debt. But think about this. Our children and grandchildren will pay back $500 million. $500 million in a town like Amherst. This is crazy.
It is crazy.
And I'll tell you, I find that today, the educational part of this is what we need to do. You and I talk about this. We need to get that information to people so they understand it. We have to encourage them to go out and vote. They need to hear this. Since I'm not looking for a job and I want to make Amherst a better place to live, this is more about getting it done, this mission that we talk about, letting people understand and know. The next steps here, they're not going to be easy. They're going to be tough, but everybody's going to know what's going on. They're going to know what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and they're going to know what the next steps are. This current town board and Sean Lavin and Brian Culpa, you don't know what's happening. The lack of transparency alone has been deafening.
Well, they don't do it in open session. They go in executive session. You don't know what kind of deals are being cut.
Right. And I've been to quite a few town board meetings now, and I've looked at the rest of them online. The lack of respect to the residents, number one, is just uncalled for. But when they say things like, when they expect you to be able to talk about issues that they're having for 3 minutes, and they have a 4 o'clock work session where they don't give you a chance to talk, what are you doing? If people have a clear problem, what avenues do they have to pursue? They're going to call up City Hall. I try to call up City Hall to leave a message for Brian, and it goes to his voicemail. Nobody answers the phone.
Well, they don't need to talk to you.
That's right.
And they don't want to talk to you.
Right.
And they're going to ignore you. I've covered town board meetings here in Amherst, and I've done it in West Seneca, Cheektowaga during my TV career. They can be very boring, but most times there's a specific reason or a specific issue that makes us want to cover the event. And sometimes they won't even address that issue. So you're like, well, how do you report on this? There's a lot of things that are going on that people just don't realize. The Boulevard Mall, that huge complex out there on Niagara Falls Boulevard, just sitting there. The prime developer in Western New York is Douglas Jamal. He walked away from that project, citing that the lack of transparency and the lack of action by COPA and the town board made him drop the deal. Now what do we do?
And that's just one of many. But let's just take Doug for a minute. There's not many Doug Jamals. And every developer's having a hard time because of interest rates and because of the cost of building. So we need to be working with Doug Jamal. We shouldn't be alienating him, and we shouldn't be making promises that we can't keep. Now I have a question for you. You've been doing this for a while. What do you think is the most important thing for residents or for the voter? What do you think the most important thing to them is?
The high cost of doing business in Western New York and the high taxes.
Okay, and see now, 11.4%. Just imagine if they would have done that over time, you would have understood that.
Yes.
But you still would have had to be responsible for what you're spending. Now, why are we bonding projects that don't make sense? We want to build a bathroom for $600,000. I'm not saying that the bathroom is not a good idea, but would we rather do that, or would we rather make sure that our taxes are in line, or do something with infrastructure? Here's a great story. There's a bathroom that's been approved.
For where?
On Paradise Park.
Okay.
Okay. Paradise Park is going to have a bathroom that's built for the pickleball courts and everything. Great park, wonderful. Well, I think it's going to come to a cost of $500,000 or $600,000.
Why?
Well, that's the question. First of all, we have a grant that we're getting some of the money, but let's forget about the grant because that really doesn't matter. It's still going to cost $500,000 to $600,000 for a 1,200 square foot bathroom. All right. I called 3 of my contracting people that I know, and I brought them out there and said, I want you to give me just a ballpark figure of building a 1,200 square bathroom right there, tying into the sewer systems, doing all that stuff. $300,000. Every one of them was under $300,000. Now, I'm not suggesting anything but the fact that I would want to know why that is. Tell me why that's happening. And how often does that occur?
Well, do you have the answer?
Not yet.
I don't
Because I'm
either.
not sitting in that office yet. But see, I'm acting like I'm already the supervisor because my first response would be, let's get some people in to bid this stuff, to look at where we are at. What's going on?
Well, Frank Simonelli, who did a wonderful job there on International Drive, built all those business buildings, told me one time you do it for less than $200 a square foot. We had a developer who wanted to do a project at a private country club, and he was asked what's the cost per square foot, and he said $1,000. It was voted down, right? Because people saw through it. What happened at Westwood Country Club? The developers got it for like $2.7 million, just sat on it, and Copeland, the town board, agreed to pay over $7.7 million for it. Nothing was done, and they're going to make it a 9-hole public golf course, and all of a sudden the county executive is stepping in because he realized that how the town supervisor here in Amherst, Brian Koppel, had bungled that deal. We're tired of having bungled deals in the town of Amherst.
Well, and I'll go one step further. Let's just take Westwood for instance. Now, as a business person, they lack the business acumen that's required. You cannot make a decision about business, and don't think that government's not business, because it is. It's a big business. But you can't make a decision unless you have all the facts that you need to make that decision. And with Westwood, bringing the Nicholas Group in,
Unbelievable.
well, they came in, and at the most expensive part, they went, because they couldn't get on, they gave us a $9 million price tag. Now, $9 million to make it an 18-hole golf course at the worst case scenario. They broke it down in areas, Don. Tee boxes, taking out trees. What have we seen from the county or the town of to what it's going to cost to build a 9-hole golf course and a passive park? Has anybody seen any of those figures?
I haven't.
No. And here's another. Why would we want to give it up? This is the stuff I don't understand about this group.
I think our viewers out there today should know how proactive you were. I never thought of it. You did. You called in the Jack Nicklaus Company. They came in. And the town authorities will not even let the Jack Nicklaus employees, the top consultants in the nation, onto the land at Westwood. What do they have to hide?
Well, you're right. And why not let us do that?
Yeah.
And I was told it's illegal if I go on there. But as I told you in the last podcast, what they weren't expecting was that the person who came here 12 years ago or 11 years ago with Jack Nicklaus was the same person who came here. So they knew what they were getting themselves into. They knew it. But again, this is about how you conduct yourself on a day-to-day basis. No decision should ever be made, and I will stand by this. No decision will be made by me without saying to myself each and every time, how does this benefit the residents? Now, if I gave 171 acres to the county, if I gave it to them, how does that benefit us? We're not getting any money. We're giving up 171 of prime property
And a clubhouse.
and a clubhouse to the county. Why are we not thinking first? Here's the first thing that we should think about. Is there anybody out there private wise who wants to come in here and pay us taxes and do that? And now that we have an assessment, they could say, okay, it's going to cost me this much money. It's going to do this. So they can honestly tell us whether they want to do it or not. Okay, that's the first thing. Second of all, after that, if there's nobody that wants to do it, the next thing we should be doing is, why are we not keeping it? Because Autobahn, which you've played, I've played, it's not the greatest course in the world. Why wouldn't we want to make this our town park?
Absolutely.
And then do something with Autobahn? Because that property is valuable, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get some of the $30 million plus that Culpa Lavin have spent on Amherst Central Park. Because Westwood was part of that. This is the stuff that people don't understand. We are responsible as representatives of this town to make sure that we are looking at everything that makes sense, whether it be good or bad. And then we present it to the people and they make the decision. You know what we're gonna do right away? We're gonna get together a committee of the residents. And that committee is gonna be here when development happens. They're gonna have a seat at the table. They're gonna go back to those areas and talk to those residents to make sure that we're hearing from them. That's how this should be done.
Absolutely, and if it's never been done before. I happen to believe that the town of Amherst is one of the best places to live in Western New York. The schools are very good, a lot of positives here. But if you have an opportunity to put another jewel in the crown of the town, like Westwood, do it. It's a nice golf course, 18 holes for a public golf course like that.
And it would be the first Willie Parks system and Nicholas design in the country. So you're right, Don. Why would I give up anything? It's just like Doug Jamal. I want Doug Jamal to be successful, but we're not developers. That's not our job.
I would bring him in as a consultant.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But we're not developers. That's not our job. Our job is not to tell, the developers come in and say, I want to do this. Then what our job as the town is to find out what's the mood of the residents. What are you going to give to the town? You're going to fix our sewer systems? Are you going to do this? That's what the job is. Our job is to get everything we can for the town of Amherst, which we live in and which we're responsible for. Then we talk to the residents. If they want to put a 20-story building, they come back and say, you can't do that. These people don't want it. Maybe it's a 3-story building. The point of this is that why are you keeping out the people who matter most for the decisions that need to be made in the town? Too often, people who don't have or don't understand business, don't understand that the bottom line is, do we have enough money to do this? What's it gonna cost us? And who does it affect? That's what this is about. Look, I'm a small business person.
Well, you know what it's all about.
I've worked in government. I've worked for corporate America. The bottom line is always the bottom line. Always. You can't get something passed in government unless you have the money to do it. But the problem is that they've had an open checkbook, which is called bonding.
Why did he want to pay for those new LED lights all at one time?
Well, my understanding is that we were the only town or community that didn't do this. But that's not true.
I was going to say, that's
not true. But I don't understand why you would spend $34 million on lights. Now, let's just break that apart. First of all, I want you to go down to LeBron and just go take look at a few of those lights, and go look around this.
You say where they are? They're on LeBron.
Look, they're everywhere. But look at the shape that they're in. Now, I want it. Now, if a business person was doing this, number one, you would have looked at what you're buying. We spend $1,500 per light. 900 of them, $1,500. And if you looked at the shape of these lights, you might have thought twice. Here's another thing. The lights that we bought from National Grid, you can't get parts for them.
Oh, great.
Because they're so old. So we've got them bandaged by tack welding things, tape. The lights don't work sometimes. They're not as bright as they're supposed to be. You have to hear the people talk about it. Going to all those 6,000 homes that I went to and the people I talked to, you ask them about their lights and they'll tell you, well, they're not as bright, or they're too bright, or they don't work, or this. So all I'm saying is, before you spend $34 million on lights or $11 million on a park, which we have 34 of them, and how many are actually being taken care of, before you do that, you need to understand what it is that needs to be done. Now, do you know that they stopped fixing bubblers 2.5 years ago?
What's a bubbler?
Bubbler is where the water drains into on the streets. They stopped fixing them. Couldn't do it.
Why not?
Because we don't have, those poor people at the highway department don't have the tools, they don't have the manpower, they don't have the equipment to do this stuff. So when you're thinking about spending $34 million and bonding it for 20 years, why are you not thinking about stuff like this? Why don't you have, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go so far, everybody's gonna know the most important infrastructure things. I'm gonna list it. People are gonna know where we're gonna fix it. They're gonna see the plan. They're gonna see exactly what we've got going on. Why hide it?
Well, the other thing is that you mentioned it. Number one, I have a flickering light across the street from my house, and I don't know how to fix it or who to call. Number two, I want to salute the town highway department for fixing the potholes as quickly as they did. We had a very long winter into spring, but if you go up Young's Road from Sheridan up to Main Street, you'll see the potholes that have been patched. But whoever did it is either a rookie or the crew was told to go out there and just patch them up as fast as you can, because it's an uneven job and you still have a bump,
Right.
almost like driving on Maple Road. And my dad would say, don't do a half-assed job.
Right.
If you're going to do it right.
Right.
And I think that Floss should be made aware that the job has been done, but not well, and not the way it should be.
And let's make sure that we're qualifying that, because if we don't have enough people, if we don't have the right equipment, if we don't have the right tools, here's the hard part about doing your job. Look, I say this all the time. This is a really, really big job, and you can't do it by yourself.
Well, I like the fact that when you walked in town hall the other day, employees came out of the office and said, Dan, congratulations on winning the primary. We're behind you for the general election. You're the right man for the job, because we need change in this town.
Because it doesn't matter whether you're an R or D. It doesn't. This is about town politics. This is about getting things done the right way. Look, we owe it to our town. This is a great place to live.
Amen.
I told you, I came from Lewiston 14 years ago. My wife is born and raised here. It's a great place. I love Amherst. I really do. Unfortunately, when you put people in charge that don't understand what a dollar means or how to spend it, that's the problem when we try to go to the next level. Because if we are experiencing bad times, Sean Lavin got on Hardline and said, we're not going to be doing development, we're going to be worrying about our infrastructure. Sean should have been worried about infrastructure for the last 8 years.
Yeah, where's he been?
That's right. You don't say things like that, because here's the point. What about the last 8 years? Explain to me about the last 8 years. I told Sean when I met him, nice guy, appreciate his service, I really do. This campaign is going to be about facts. That's what it's going to be about.
And quality of life.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about facts. We're going to talk about solutions. That's the issue. This has to be a solution-based campaign. We're going to make sure that we audit. We're going to look at every dollar that's spent. Every department's going to be responsible for it. We're going to make sure that I'm going to talk to every person that has been added to the payroll since Culpa and Lavin have been elected.
Well,
every one of them.
You're going to have a field day.
Well, I want to talk to them. I want to know what they're doing. I'm not telling you that their job is not necessary. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm gonna find out what do they do. I'm gonna go to every department. I'm gonna talk to them about how they're spending their money. I'm gonna make sure that we have P&Ls. Now think about this.
Profit and loss statements?
Yes. So think about this. Every budget, we must project expenses and revenue. We have to do that. That's the job. Now, that's good. Now you have your budget. Now, as a business person, you need to be looking at those profit and loss statements every single month. I've been to the board meetings. I've never seen a profit and loss statement.
I never have either.
I've never seen it.
In any government.
That's right. But if they're getting them, share them with us. Tell us where we are. Let us know what's going on. Full transparency means full transparency.
And not a surprise 11.4%
Exactly
tax
right.
slap in the face of every taxpayer in this town.
And here's another thing. Think about our process. A lot of hardworking people at Town Hall. A lot of hardworking people that put all these things together, these agendas and the things that we're doing. If you've ever been there and sat through those, they vote on consent agendas in like one big mass. Now, I'm not saying that that's not how we have to do it. I'm saying, who has the time to listen and go through every single thing that is on that agenda? The last agenda that I looked at was 600 pages, and they give it to you on Thursday, and you vote for it on Monday.
It sounds like that big, beautiful bill that's on Capitol Hill right now. Who's read it?
That's right.
What's in it?
That's right. This is not the way to do business. All I'm telling you is, first and foremost, we have to look at our processes. We have to look at our processes in the permitting, building. We have to look at our processes in highway, police, firemen. You've got to look at all of it. You want to assist them to become efficient. This is the point. I've had hard times in my business. Guess what? You don't give up. You keep trying. You keep trying. And if you're wrong, you try something new. You keep going. We have so many smart people. My research group for this election, they're all retired. They love doing it. These people just want to give back to Amherst what they've got from Amherst.
I know they were born at nighttime, but not last night.
That's right. That's right. Look at the amount of time. Look at the amount of time that you've been in your profession. Let's just take what you do. I asked you the question is, how do we get this information out to people? What do we do? Why wouldn't I ask somebody like you who understands it? Why wouldn't I listen to somebody like you? That's what we have to do.
Well, this is how these podcasts are becoming so popular.
Right.
You know, we got to get your message out there.
That's right. That's right. And see, in my opinion, we have to get our message out there because people are not educated. And you know this as being in the business. 2 and 3 minute snippets are not going to do it. What we have to do is you can't be afraid to have these conversations.
Absolutely.
And be able to talk for more than 2 minutes.
Right.
You have to let people see who you are. They have to feel your sincerity. That's the number one thing.
I've never seen another candidate in any other town, city, pound the pavement to 6,600 homes to talk to people like you have. And it's gotten back to me, people are saying how refreshing it is to meet a guy like you who's not a political hack, but are doing this from the bottom of your heart because you believe in the mission, you believe in our town, and you just want to improve the way the government runs.
In my business today, I'm neutral. I'm Switzerland. We want everybody to come into our restaurants. We want that. But I have to tell you that being out there talking to all those people that I talk to, it's about the fact that it's the same thing that I did in my business. You want to make them, you want to give them what they want, what they need. So it's the same thing. In order for me to get this job, I shouldn't get it unless I talk to people, as many as I possibly can. Now, because of that, listening to them, you get a perspective that's not in the papers, that's not on your news on 2, 4, and 7. This is about talking to people who literally have plights, Like the people out by the wastewater treatment plant, the smell out
That's
there.
a problem.
Right? It's a problem out there. A woman can't let her children out there because the smell's so bad. What are we doing about it? There's not enough patrol officers. What does that do to the police officers? What happens to them when they're out there and they have to go to someplace? Is there enough people there? Or talking to the fire department. I had the opportunity to speak to the Snyder Fire Department.
Good men there.
I learned so much about what's going on there. My heart is out to all those firemen and police officers. We have to make sure we have enough people out there doing the job.
Absolutely.
We have to make sure that we've got the right equipment to do the job we want. These are just basic essentials. We pay taxes in this town to be treated a certain way. That's the difference. We don't get treated the same way anymore. It's different. It's harder.
I went to American University in Washington, D.C., and the Washingtonian magazine voted Henry Nowak as the most boring member of Congress. First of all, he's a gentleman's gentleman. But, Dan, he brought more money back to Western New York from the coffers in D.C. that no one has ever done before or since. Henry Nowak brought federal dollars back to Western New York. Rather than seeing our federal dollars being wasted in USAID, I want to see us support more of our towns and cities and villages to improve the quality of life for everyone.
We have to be fighting, Don. We have to be fighting on a state level and a federal level. It's a responsibility of this supervisor to go out and make sure that they are acquiring as much money as they possibly can to make sure that we have it right. We should be talking to Hochul about having that wastewater treatment plant fixed.
Now.
That's right. Get the money in here right now. We should be going to the federal government and telling them that we have to have it and we need it. But you have to have a voice, and you have to not think about the next 4 years. Look, I don't need a job. It's a mission. So getting out there and talking to these people and making sure they understand that we need this stuff because the quality of life is not right. How do you talk to a person and say, what do you say to them when they tell you that the smell is so bad? What do you tell them?
Well, you're identifying problems that have not been brought to the surface.
Right.
And they always talk about the Clean Water Act and how we got to protect our Great Lakes. Well, where do they think this raw sewage is heading?
Right.
It's going to get into our water.
But it's just like you said, that 6,600 people the homes that we went to, I wouldn't have known that until I went out and talked to them. I wouldn't have understood that. Yesterday I had a meeting with some of the businesses, as I mentioned, and they just tell you things that they're experiencing as small businessmen. Like, you can't get permits. It takes forever to have something built in your house. People care. You're asking them to spend all this money on taxes to live in this town. Well, don't be surprised when they leave this town because they can't afford to be here.
It's becoming a problem. It's
is.
unsustainable. But you have done a great job, if I may say this, by listening with your ears and talking less with your mouth. You're trying to get the pulse of the people. You've identified certain problems in this town, including the wastewater treatment plant, I call it the sewage plant, but people don't know this, and they don't realize how expensive it is to rectify that problem.
God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as we talk.
I like that.
And that is, and listen, I've not always been that way, but I will tell you, during this campaign, you change. You change because you have to identify why.
Well, you see, when I was approached to run for town supervisor, I'm 74 years old. I don't want to do it. You want to do it, and you are doing it for the right reasons, even more so of a perspective that I had on what I would do if I was the town supervisor. But you're refreshing. You're a new face. You're not a politician. You don't need the job. You're a successful businessman. And I think that once people get to know you, Dan Gagliardo is a guy they like.
Well, and Don, I have to tell you, for me, I think the most important thing is that you want to give back to where you are, right? And I've got children. I've got 4 girls. I've got 6 grandchildren. So you want to give back to them. You want to be able to leave something for them that makes sense. A lot of stuff doesn't make sense anymore, Don. Things that are happening out there, it's very difficult. It's difficult when you hear people talk. When polling cards gave that press conference and said they had been talking about Westwood for a year,
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, yeah, like who did you talk to? Who were you speaking to? Did you talk to the Fairways group? We said this before. Like, did you talk to them? This is the people who came out of their own pocket and did an Article 78, cost them thousands and thousands of dollars.
What's an Article 78?
That was to stop musical fair.
Thank goodness.
Right? But they spent their own money. Do you know that 11 years ago, this is exactly what the town asked for? To keep it a golf course, to go and do something with Autobahn.
Yeah.
12 years later.
And the shooting club.
That's right, all that stuff.
Oh, I could just see wonderful economic development there.
That's right.
You
And
know?
why not? There's no houses out there.
Right.
So you're not affecting the neighborhoods like you would be affecting them at Boulevard Mall or Station 12 or I'm sorry, Gun Club. These are places where you're required to think about this. Look, the best advice I got was from a good friend. And this was when I started it in February. He said, Dan, just run your campaign like you're already the supervisor. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I already think I'm there. I already think that I'm in the job because I'm trying to give that perspective of how I would do it when I'm there. Okay? I'm not afraid. Look, forget the election. I said this on the news. Forget the election. The assessment from Nicholas Group, everybody should be excited about it. The county, the town, the residents, everybody, because now we have a cost. We're looking at something. We can literally say it's going to cost us much money.
But it's a vision for the future.
That's right. But why wouldn't we want to know this? Because I think what's happening now with this town board and Lavin and Culpa is they don't want you to know. They would rather say, oh, it costs us another 100,000. Oh, it's going to cost us another $1 million, because they don't want you to know the cost because they don't know it. As a business person, you know every cost. You know where your dollars are going. You know where our food's coming from. You know all this stuff. Why wouldn't you want to run government like that?
Run it like a business.
Exactly.
Tony Masiello, when he was mayor, and he was a good mayor, said to me every time he saw a cop car with 2 officers in it, he was looking at over $100,000. That was back then.
Right.
And now they got them down to 1 man per car. And they back each other up.
Right.
Okay. Right. We haven't seen an increase in officers being killed in the line of duty.
Right.
But it was a way of saving money.
Right.
And I'm sure if you took a fine-tooth comb to the budget in the town of Amherst, you could find a lot of areas where you could cut government waste.
I'm interested. I think you're right. First and foremost, an audit was done. That's supposed to be coming out. So I'm very curious to see what that's going to look like.
Who's doing the audit?
The state. The state came in and did it. And they said it should be out by August. I will not believe that I can't save a minimum of 12% off of our budget. Because as soon as I get in, 5% decrease in taxes. And I'm going to make that, and I'm going to put that on the responsibility of every department head and all of them. How can we save that much money immediately?
Do it better.
That's right.
All right.
And more efficient.
Yeah, more efficient.
Because that's the point. I believe that we've got some very smart people working at town hall.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm sure that if you explain to them and let them understand and know that you're watching for any waste whatsoever, this is just 101.
Well, look at the cost of gasoline. You got those cop cars going 24/7.
That's right.
And we had inflation. It hit our pocketbook as residents. It's hit the pocketbook of the town, and other governments have had to deal with rising costs of doing business. However, there is a way to make sure you're doing efficiently.
Right. Let me ask you something. How do we get the information out to people? How do we get people to be more engaged in voting? What do we do? How do we get that information out, being the expert that you are in this?
Well, I think what's happened is that the residents in this town woke up and they got slapped in the face with that 11.4% tax increase. And they're going, really? Really? And even the top politicians will tell you that was political suicide. But Culpa's turned out. He didn't care. He didn't try to find a better way of doing it. You have. It's an exciting time because there's an undercurrent with the residents who want change. They don't want business as usual in the town of Amherst.
How would you get the word out? How would you get the word out? As a newscaster, how would you do that to make sure people are up to date and they know what's happening?
Well, podcasts are becoming very important, but I'd also come out, hold a news conference when you find something that says, do you realize we as taxpayers in the town of Amherst are spending X amount of dollars in doing this, and here's my way of doing it for less and more efficiently. And you'll call a news conference, you get the 3 TV stations out and BN radio, you'll get the message. Your signs are everywhere in this town. Your name is now known. I've always enjoyed going into Devolio's not knowing you were the owner. Okay, it's a wonderful experience. It's to me a wonderful asset. I don't know about the headaches. I've always been told that running a restaurant is one of the hardest jobs you can imagine, 24/7. But it's a place where I go, when I go out for dinner, I want to have a nice, pleasant experience with good food. That's Devolio. If you apply the same principles to town government, I think people are going to enjoy even more living here with the quality of life improving and knowing that the government is being run efficiently.
Do you think that people are interested in the details of these things?
Yes, I do, because it's their pocketbook, but you got to keep it bullet point type stuff. I seen your spot on Facebook, social media. You have to use social media nowadays. Very smart, who's ever doing that for you. You have to do a podcast like this. You have so many wonderful people in your corner. And if you get the message out and what you're trying to do, you're going to be unstoppable, because this is what we need in government now. We need people like you who have a business background, who don't need it, but you're on a mission to improve the quality of life in the town of Amherst.
And I would say too, Don, for people such as yourself who considered doing this thing as well. You know, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to get the word out, to do something, to give back. Because, you know, the town has been great to me. It has been wonderful to me. But I also think that, for me, informationally, you have to open up the books. You have to. You just have to open them up.
Here we are.
That's right. This is what we've got.
What you see is what you get.
And I'll tell you, when I get in there in November and we go through all this and we see what's going on, whatever I find is coming out. I'm not holding back. Whatever I find, I'm coming out with, because people have the right to know why we're making a decision. For instance, if we found that this much money was spent in error, or we shouldn't have done this, let them know that. If this is our process, let them know that. If this is our list of things that we need to fix in our infrastructure, we do it. Let them know that. There's no questions then.
I'm not an expert on this, and I haven't done my research, and it's not fair for me to bring this up. However, I've been reading in the Amherst Bee about this youth center that's going to be on Agard, and the cost per square foot is outrageous, and then the length of the contract and how long we're going to be paying for it. Is this the most efficient way? I mean, I want to see our youth, they have every opportunity. I want to see lifeguards in our pool, but is this youth center the best way to go?
Well, I think that what we need to look at, first of all, it's costing $28,000 a month. Okay? All right. Now, to your point, we need a youth center. Great. Let's get a youth center. But here, I got just a couple questions about that. We've got our own buildings, Bailey Avenue. We've got a few other buildings. Why are we not talking to the schools? Why are we not having a conversation with them, seeing if they can help us? All I'm saying is that before we decide to go and spend $28,000 a month and build a youth center in a place that police cars and fire engines can't get to easily, why would we not look? Why would we not look at everything surrounding us? And here's the point. We might come back and say that spot to build that youth center is the best spot. But when the residents ask, did you look at other buildings? Did you talk to the schools? Did you do your homework? We should be able to say, we did it. Here it is. We did all that. And here's what we did. Now you've answered the question. This is the problem. People are smart. Don't take people for granted. This is exactly what's happening with that particular project right there. There's a number of residents who are out there who are questioning these things.
Right.
You can't get the answers. Why? Why are you hiding the answers? This is what I don't understand. Look, when I win in November, I want to make sure everybody knows everything, because I don't want to be surprised. I don't want to do things that people don't know about. Why would I want to do that?
Well, when you went to 6,600 homes, what was the message you heard repeatedly over and over again from the people out there?
It was about taxes, 11.4%. It was about potholes.
Yeah.
It was about my sewers not draining, backup of water. We can't get anything done. Our streetlights don't work. It's about people who pay high taxes to be in Amherst, New York, and they want their money's worth. Nobody should be. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are going to be people who are just not happy, but on the average, let's just take potholes. Is there a schedule for potholes? Is it publicized? Do people know? Maybe if you did that, then people could look and say, "Oh, we're going to get to this pothole on this week or whatever."
Awesome.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not tell them?
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, then if it's not on the list, that's when they could call up and say, "Hey, why is my pothole not on the list?"
Well, they should be able to go to the town
Exactly.
website and say, "Here's the schedule."
And we're going to revamp that all too. We're going to revamp that website so people know, so they can see it.
To navigate through it.
Yes. In my business, I could not survive. I could not survive if I wasn't doing exactly what I'm telling you. If I wasn't out front, if people weren't able to tell me that my food was bad, right, and me make a change, or if people didn't feel comfortable to tell me what their issues are, I wouldn't be in business. So why are we not taking those same principles, doing those same things, and applying it to government? I walked into a town hall to get a permit, and the people were just wonderful, congratulating me, all that stuff. But I have to tell you something. The nicest people ever. Couldn't wait to give me information. Couldn't wait to talk. This is what you're trying to encourage this.
Well, they know where the bodies are buried.
Right, but you're encouraging, like you want people to talk to you. Why wouldn't you want people to talk to you? That's what I do. Why wouldn't you want the residents to tell you what you're doing wrong?
Anybody say anything about snow removal this past winter? Wasn't up to par like it used to be?
Well, I think that they just say that it takes longer.
Yeah, it takes longer.
It takes longer, and I think it's because we don't have enough people or the right equipment. Listen, I had the opportunity to speak to the highway people. Had a great conversation. They're just trying to work. They're trying to get their job done. I hold them in the highest regard as I do with police and fire, everybody. But if you don't have the tools to do it, how do you do your job?
Want to hear something interesting? I've never told this to anyone. I put something out at the curb, and the garbage men from Modern Waste left a flyer in my mailbox that they don't take this, that the town does from 10 to 3. Just go over there on North Forest and you can drop it off. So I said to my wife, I'm going to go over there. Well, by the time I got there, it was 1 minute after 3. And the guy said, you're going to have to come back tomorrow between 10 and 3. Are you kidding me? By 1 minute, you can't still take the stuff?
Right.
And I have to make an extra trip back there,
Right.
which I did, but I was PO'd.
Well, and remember, who are we here for?
Well, there you go.
Who are we here for? And look, this is a culture, Don. This is a culture. So let's say this clearly. It comes from the top down. I'm out for the residents. So everybody in every department is going to be out for the residents. That's what it goes. It starts from the top and it filters down. So if I'm promoting residents and I'm telling you that the residents come first, the residents come first. And everybody needs to understand that's what I believe in. So if you follow the leader, follow the leader. So today, if people are not getting what they want, blame it on the leadership. Blame it on the people who are on the top, who are not conveying that message to the people below them. Because my father used to tell me, you go up that stair, you go up that ladder, be careful, because when you come down that ladder, you're going to see those people.
That's right. That's so true.
And that to me, it's like, you have to lead by example. No doubt about it. You have to lead by example. And look, this is a full-time job. Nobody can do this part-time. You got to be there. You got to be there in the thick of things. You got to be there every day, doing everything you possibly can without ever looking back, only looking forward. Because if you've made a mistake, fess up to it, own up to it, make a change. People will appreciate you telling them the truth. You don't have to hide anything, Don.
You know, the other thing is the Heritage Village that he wanted to move into the Westwood side is what he wants to call the Amherst Central Park. No one had any say in that. There was no discussion, no debate. What is the ulterior motive for that real estate out there? Does he want to develop it? And why would you want to put that in Westwood?
But think about this, Don. We did have a say in it. We paid $30 million for it.
What do you mean?
We paid $30 million for the concept and everything that's been done so far for Amherst Central Park. So we do have a stake in it. The residents do. We paid for it. We paid for that idea.
Where'd it go?
Nothing's been done. That's the point. You're spending my money on something that didn't come to fruition. How about if you put it out there first and said, we're going to look into this? Maybe you would have come up with some things that said, geez, that's not going to work or whatever. But you spent $30 million of our money. So we do have a say.
That makes me sick.
It is. It's terrible. It's terrible. Just everything we're talking about. Look, and I mean this. I believe that Brian Kulpa, Sean Lavin, and all of them, they have the best interest in their heart. I really do. I think that they want to do best, good for everybody. I believe in goodness in people. I really do. I just don't think that their way was the right way. I think that they've made mistakes. I think this is my approach. This is what I want to do. I have nothing disparaging to say about Brian or Sean or one board member. I give them a lot of credit for putting up the time to be our representatives. This is about philosophy. This is about what's correct, what is better for the town, and how do we get to that next place? What do we do? How do we do it? Do you believe in this way, which was the last 8 years, or do you believe in another way? This is what we should be doing. This is how we should be doing this. We are at a precipice. We're at a precipice. This election, and I hear this nationally and statewide and all this stuff, but we really are. At $200 million in debt, I don't want a receivership to come in here and take us over.
That'd be awful.
I don't want that to happen. We're smart enough not for that to happen. But what it means is, and don't be fooled, and I will tell everybody this on the election trail, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. It's going to take sacrifice. We're going to have to do this. That's the way it is. Don't be fooled. It's going to take sacrifice. But guess what? As long as you know about it, as long as you understand,
and why
we're doing it, you're going to know why, because our children and grandchildren are the recipients of what we do today. And that is where we're going. This is what this campaign's about. This is why I don't care whether you're a Democrat, Republican, conservative, independent, blank. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. What matters to me is that this is a town, these are town issues. And we have more in common
yes,
than what most people would believe.
I believe that.
So this is a good thing. This is a good. I'm really happy that the primary is over. I'm very excited that we are at a place where we're at a place now where it's going to be just the two of us, Sean and I, battling out about what we believe in, about facts.
Well, you're a man on a mission.
Absolutely.
What's his motivation?
No clue. No clue. I could tell you that we have people who have chose an avenue or a position in their life and they're following it. I'm sure Sean is following his passion and what he wants to do. I just believe that we need people other than governmental officials to run this town. I think we need a new perspective. And I think we need Democrats and Republicans on this board to make this happen. I think we should get some Republicans on there, myself, and work with the Democrats, because we still have 2 Democrats there. And we have to work with them.
Well, I like the fact that you want to have like a citizens committee
100%.
that can give you input on what's on the minds and not make it political, but have it what's on the best for all residents.
That's right. So they're going to have a seat at the table. They're going to be there. They're going to be there when we make these decisions. They have to. They have to. But you know, great time. Great talk. This is our second podcast. I just want you to know that. More to come. And Don's going to be talking to some other people as well, other officials. We're going to make this as much as we possibly can. I would encourage you to go to my website, Dan Gagliardo for Supervisor. Look at that. Give us suggestions. Tell us what you want to see, because we'll bring it in. This is the first of many. This is how we're going to get information out to you. This is how you're going to know what's going on in the town of Amherst. This is going to continue after we win in November. You're going to know everything that's going on. I want to thank you for being here, Don.
My pleasure. It's a very exciting time for you and for the residents, and everyone's going to enjoy the summer. It's shorter season, but come after Labor Day, when people get focused on the issues, what can we do to improve the quality of life in the town of Amherst and new leadership for the town board? I think it's very exciting for you, Dan, and I thank you for being willing to make the sacrifice that you're making as a businessman for the good of the public.
Thanks, Don. We'll see you next time.